The bustling airport terminal was filled with the usual cacophony of announcements, rolling luggage, and hurried footsteps. Among the travelers was Vanessa Mitchell, a poised black woman in her late 30s, dressed in a chic yet understated outfit. She carried a sleek carry-on and a laptop bag, her demeanor exuding quiet confidence. Vanessa had just disembarked from a connecting flight and decided to spend her layover in the airline's VIP lounge. She approached the entrance, where a tall, stern-looking attendant stood behind the desk. "Good afternoon," Vanessa said with a warm smile, handing over her boarding pass. "I'd like to use the lounge, please." The attendant, a middle-aged man with a name tag that read Stephen, scanned her pass with a cursory glance, his expression indifferent. "This lounge is for first-class passengers and VIP members only," he said flatly. "I understand," Vanessa replied, reaching into her bag to retrieve her VIP membership card. She handed it to him, but Stephen barely looked at it before shaking his head. "This card doesn't look valid," he said dismissively. Vanessa frowned. "It's current. You can scan it to verify." Stephen sighed, clearly annoyed. "Look, ma'am, I don't want to waste your time or mine. This lounge is for premium customers. Maybe try the food court downstairs." Vanessa's jaw tightened. "I am a premium customer. I fly frequently with this airline and my membership is in good standing." Stephen folded his arms, his tone growing colder. "I don't think this is the right place for you. Now, if you'll excuse me, there are other guests waiting." Nearby travelers glanced at the exchange, some whispering to each other. Vanessa felt a wave of frustration and embarrassment, but maintained her composure. "May I speak to a supervisor?" she asked firmly. Stephen smirked. "The supervisor is busy. Please step aside." Taking a deep breath, Vanessa nodded. "Thank you," she said, her voice calm despite the fire simmering beneath the surface. She turned and walked away, her mind already racing with thoughts of what had just transpired. Little did Stephen know, Vanessa wasn't just a frequent flyer. She was one of the newly appointed co-owners of the airline, having recently acquired a significant stake in the company. And this incident was about to spark a change that would ripple across the entire organization. The following day, Vanessa arrived at the airline's corporate headquarters, an imposing glass building that reflected the city skyline. As one of the airline's newly appointed co-owners, she had arranged a meeting with the senior management team to discuss her vision for the company. Vanessa entered the boardroom with an air of quiet authority. The room fell silent as executives rose to greet her. "Good morning," Vanessa began, taking her place at the head of the table. "I'm excited to work with all of you to ensure our airline not only thrives, but becomes a leader in customer experience and inclusivity." The executives nodded, though some exchanged cautious glances, unsure of what to expect from their new co-owner. Before delving into business strategies, Vanessa decided to address the incident at the VIP lounge. "Yesterday, during a layover, I had an experience at one of our airport lounges that highlighted some areas we need to address immediately." She recounted the encounter with Stephen, omitting no detail. As she spoke, the room grew tense, the executives exchanging nervous glances. "This isn't just about me," Vanessa said firmly. "It's about the culture we're fostering as a company. If an incident like this can happen to me, imagine how many other passengers face similar treatment every day, and how that impacts their perception of our brand." The head of customer relations, a woman named Diane, leaned forward, her face filled with concern. "Ms. Mitchell, I deeply apologize for what you experienced. This is unacceptable, and I assure you we'll investigate and take action." Vanessa nodded. "Thank you, Diane. But we need to do more than address this one incident. We need systemic changes to ensure that every passenger is treated with respect, regardless of how they look or where they come from." Vanessa then outlined her plan. Comprehensive staff training. All employees, from customer-facing staff to senior management, would undergo training on inclusivity, cultural awareness, and customer service excellence. Anonymous feedback system. Passengers and employees could report incidents of discrimination or poor service without fear of retaliation. Regular audits. Each lounge and customer touchpoint would be evaluated periodically to ensure compliance with the airline's values and policies. Promotion of diversity. The airline would actively recruit and promote individuals from diverse backgrounds to ensure representation at all levels. The room erupted into a mix of nods and murmurs of agreement. Vanessa's vision was clear, actionable, and necessary. "We're not just running an airline," Vanessa concluded. "We're creating an experience, and that experience should make every passenger feel valued and respected." The executives left the meeting inspired, and Vanessa knew she had taken the first step toward transforming the airline. Vanessa wasted no time turning her vision into reality. Within days of the meeting, the airline launched a company-wide initiative called Elevate Everyone, aimed at fostering inclusivity and exceptional service across all touchpoints. The first step was a series of mandatory training sessions for all staff, starting with those in customer-facing roles. Vanessa personally attended the inaugural session to emphasize its importance. In a large conference room at one of the airline's hub airports, employees, including Stephen, gathered for the first training. The facilitator began with a powerful statement. "Every interaction matters. Whether it's a VIP member, a frequent flyer, or a first-time traveler, the way we treat people defines not just our brand but who we are as individuals." Vanessa stood up to address the room. "Thank you all for being here," she began. "I want to share something personal. Last week I was turned away from one of our VIP lounges, not as a co-owner of this airline but as a black woman who was judged based on assumptions. That experience was hurtful, but it also revealed an opportunity, the chance to make this airline a true leader in respect and service." She scanned the room, her gaze resting momentarily on Stephen, who shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "This isn't about assigning blame," Vanessa continued. "It's about growth. We all have the power to elevate the experiences of those around us. But to do that, we need to confront our biases, listen, and learn." The training sessions included role-playing exercises, discussions on unconscious bias, and real-world scenarios designed to challenge assumptions. Employees were encouraged to share their experiences and reflect on how they could contribute to a more welcoming environment. By the end of the first session, many employees expressed newfound perspectives. "I never realized how much small actions can impact someone's experience," one lounge attendant said. Stephen, who had remained silent throughout most of the session, approached Vanessa afterward. "Ms. Mitchell," he began hesitantly, "I owe you an apology. I didn't recognize you, but that's no excuse for how I treated you. I made assumptions, and I was wrong." Vanessa nodded, her expression thoughtful. "Thank you for acknowledging that, Stephen. Growth starts with taking responsibility. But remember, it's not about who I am. It's about treating everyone with the respect they deserve." "I understand," Stephen said. "I'll do better." Meanwhile, Vanessa worked with the executive team to roll out the anonymous feedback system. Passengers could now easily share their experiences, and the data would be reviewed regularly to address concerns and improve service. Vanessa also pushed for visible changes in the airline's branding, promoting diversity in its advertising and featuring employees from various backgrounds in campaigns. Within weeks, the company began to see results. Customer satisfaction scores improved, and the airline received positive press for its commitment to inclusivity. Passengers shared stories on social media about their improved experiences, often tagging the airline with the hashtag #We'reElevateEveryone. For Vanessa, the transformation was more than just a professional accomplishment. It was a deeply personal victory. As the Elevate Everyone initiative gained momentum, the ripple effects extended far beyond the airline's lounges and terminals. Vanessa Mitchell's efforts were setting a new industry standard, and her vision was inspiring change in unexpected ways. Passengers began to notice the difference almost immediately. The once dismissive attitudes of staff in VIP lounges were replaced with genuine warmth and professionalism. Travelers who had felt invisible were now being greeted with smiles and treated with care. One day, while passing through the same airport where the initial incident had occurred, Vanessa decided to stop by the VIP lounge to see the progress firsthand. She walked in, dressed casually, with no hint of her executive status. The attendant at the desk greeted her with a bright smile. "Welcome to the VIP lounge, ma'am. May I see your boarding pass and membership card?" Vanessa handed over her card, observing the attendant's demeanor. "Thank you, Ms. Mitchell," the attendant said after scanning her card. "Please let me know if there's anything I can do to make your visit more comfortable." Vanessa smiled. "Thank you. I appreciate that." As she settled into a seat, she noticed Stephen working behind the counter. Unlike his previous smug attitude, he now moved with purpose, his interactions with guests polite and attentive. When their eyes met, Stephen offered her a small, respectful nod. Vanessa returned the nod, silently acknowledging his growth. Meanwhile, the anonymous feedback system revealed just how impactful the changes had been. Passengers left glowing reviews, praising the improved service and inclusivity. One review stood out to Vanessa. "As a woman of color, I've often felt out of place in luxury spaces, but this time, I felt truly welcomed. Thank you for creating an environment where everyone belongs." The message brought a smile to Vanessa's face. It was proof that her efforts were making a real difference. The changes at the airline also caught the attention of industry leaders. Vanessa was invited to speak at a global aviation conference where she shared the story of the VIP lounge incident and how it had driven her to transform the company. On stage, she addressed an audience of executives, policymakers, and aviation professionals. "Leadership isn't just about profits or market share," Vanessa said. "It's about people. It's about creating spaces where everyone feels valued, respected, and seen. That's the kind of legacy I want to leave, not just for my company but for the entire industry." The audience erupted in applause, many inspired to take a closer look at their own organizations. Back at the airline, Vanessa's efforts were being celebrated at all levels. Employees who had once felt overlooked were now thriving under the new policies, and the company's reputation as a leader in inclusivity and service excellence continued to grow. For Vanessa, the journey was far from over. But as she watched the transformation unfold, she felt a deep sense of pride, not just in the company, but in the power of resilience and vision to create lasting change. Months after the launch of the Elevate Everyone initiative, Vanessa Mitchell's vision had become a reality. The airline was no longer just known for its luxury and efficiency. It was celebrated for its inclusivity and commitment to treating every passenger with respect. Customer satisfaction scores reached record highs and the airline's reputation soared. Industry leaders began adopting similar policies, inspired by Vanessa's approach to leadership and change. One day, Vanessa received an email from a young woman named Tasha, a passenger who had been traveling for a job interview. "Dear Ms. Mitchell, I recently traveled on your airline, and I wanted to thank you. As someone who's often judged by my appearance, I've faced my share of uncomfortable moments while traveling. But during this trip, your staff made me feel welcome and valued. That small act of kindness gave me the confidence I needed for my interview, and I got the job. Thank you for creating an airline that sees people, not stereotypes." Vanessa smiled as she read the message, her heart swelling with pride. This was why she had fought so hard for change, not for accolades, but for moments like this. To celebrate the company's success and the employees who had embraced the changes, Vanessa hosted a special event at the airline's headquarters. Employees from all levels of the organization were invited to a night of recognition and gratitude. During her speech, Vanessa reflected on the journey. "When I first walked into that VIP lounge, I was treated as though I didn't belong," she said. "But today, I stand here proud, not just of how far we've come as a company, but of how we've come together as a team to create something extraordinary." She paused, scanning the room filled with employees who now shared her vision. "This is just the beginning. Our work isn't done, but together, we're proving that respect, inclusivity, and kindness are more than just words. They're the foundation of everything we do." The room erupted in applause, and Vanessa felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Back in the VIP lounge where the story had begun, a framed plaque now hung on the wall. It read, "Welcome to the Elevate Lounge, a space where every passenger is treated like a VIP, because everyone deserves to feel valued." Vanessa visited the lounge one last time before her next flight. As she walked through the space, she noticed Stephen, now a senior lounge attendant, helping an elderly passenger with her luggage. His transformation was a testament to the power of second chances and the importance of strong leadership. Ms. Mitchell, Stephen said, spotting her. It's always a pleasure to see you. Likewise, Stephen, Vanessa replied with a warm smile. Keep up the great work. As she boarded her flight, Vanessa couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. What had started as a moment of humiliation had become the catalyst for change, not just in the airline, but in the lives of everyone it touched. Her legacy was clear, a company that didn't just fly passengers from one destination to another, but elevated them along the way.